What's good, poppin' YouTube family? We back in our reaction video. We got my boy Ty Learn with Beyblade did you dirty. They did, but it's like compared to everybody else, he did real dirty. Can't even lie. I was gonna say he didn't. He wasn't. That's a lie because I would have lied. Because he really did foul. He did foul, like Mrs. Foul, Mrs. Foul. But I know you're not here to hear me talk about it. You're trying to hear my boy Ty get into it. So with that being said, his channel gonna be linked down below. I'm on the original video. Make sure you go show him some love. Hit the sub button, all that good stuff. And you know we gotta hit the lights. Bow. Make it full screen. Come on now, bitch ass. Make my shit straight, bitch ass.
You such a character who is the embodiment of the nerf boss you befriend after you go through trial and error to beat said boss. Seriously, you has legit been at the top and bottom of the Metalverse in terms of power and reputation.
Literally.
We will not only be
look at my boy
fall off, but his
on the ground
overall as a character and if he recovered. We might be getting into the most fraudulent version of a character yet, and that includes the likes of Metal Fury Tsubasa and Metal Masters Masamune, so please be prepared. I think we should start where he was introduced, where we literally see him being in the center of a nuke explosion and not being intimidated by Ryuga, as like him and Jinga, he loves fighting strong opponents and has a passion for battling as a whole. He'd get humbled and would idolize Ryuga, joining Dark Nebula with no questions asked, and would be the inside man to set up Doji's plan in the Island Survival Challenge. And what's crazy is that you didn't even realize Doji's plan, and honestly doesn't really care.
He was just there to fight.
And was locked in after he heard that there were powerful bladers on an island. And this would lead us into the survival battle, where we see Yu's friendly nature being shown off more by befriending Kenta and having a nice attitude when he, Hikaru, Kenta, and Benkei engage in a battle. But the second Yu decides to start using some of his real strength, everyone begins to see just how terrifying this little kid can be. We see him go on to combat both Jinga and Kiyoya, though Kiyoya was weakened and gave up halfway because he didn't want to damage Leon, leading into Yu and Jinga's first real battle, and for the first time ever, Jinga would lose in a straight up one-on-one. Obviously, Tetsuya doesn't count, and I feel like the Ryuga fight doesn't really count either, since, for one, El Drago is a very special Bade that specifically drains the energy of others, and Ryuga was also taking advantage of Jinga's mental state. Yu is just a straight-up strong glader.
Yeah, he won.
And Jinga
really just won.
The chin to begin understanding not only what makes him strong, but what makes him want to become stronger. I briefly talked about this in my Tsubasa video with Jinga and Phoenix, but Yu defeating Jinga was pretty much the stepping stones for what Phoenix would teach Jinga. Anyway, Yu after defeating Jinga would set up battle bleeders and would still work under Dark Nebula, stopping Tsubasa and end up befriending and going on missions with him. But then after Tsubasa betrays and leaves Dark Nebula, Yu would still not understand what's going on until the battle bleeders event starts.
He was just a kid that wanted the box, bro.
Player within Dark Nebula by this point. Aside from Ryuga and the revealed Reggie, he is without a doubt the strongest that the organization's got. And so when Doji sees his little prodigy get folded in the first round from Jinga's new special move, you can already expect what Doji would consider of Yu now. Doji already thought Yu was disposable, but now he just thinks he's completely useless, and this leads into Doji forcing Yu to fight Reggie in order to stay in the organization. Yu, in contrast to when he was fighting Jinga,
and I think he got cooked that battle, didn't he?
Taken this battle in the first place, and I do think it's interesting that the show uses Yu to pretty much show the contrast in Jinga and Reggie and just how opposite they are, and it's just fuel for that epic fight later on in the arc. But anyway, after Yu somehow escapes against Reggie, he joins up with Team Jinga and witnesses battle bladers going down, supporting Jinga.
I don't remember him getting cooked.
He even helped Kenta stand up to Reggie, which is one of the best moments in the arc. And even despite Reggie's attempt at crushing Yu's spirit, he let the fire that Jinga set off within him burn his fear of Reggie away. Though Yu is met with the reality that Ryuga in fact cares about no one but power, and that his idol is an evil planet-ending maniac.
Yeah.
Which is why he then starts to look at Jinga for hope, as we know Jinga defeats Ryuga and the World Martial Arts Tournament would begin. Now, even after Battle Bladers, Yu would still be shown prominent in the Beyblade world, winning battles against fodder people, but Metal Masters is unfortunately the beginning of the greatest fall-off in all the Beyblade argument. Remember how I was speaking very highly of Yu in Fusion? Well, that all is about to change. Masamune
Bombed.
would intercept he and Tsubasa's fight, which leads into you pretty much losing, but the fight wouldn't count since Masamune intercepted them. And then this would lead into their actual fight for the qualifiers of Team Japan, and he would straight up lose to Masamune this time. But he'd still get a chance to join Team Japan by fighting Tsubasa, who currently is suppressing the dark power, so maybe he actually has a chance to beat him this... Oh, never mind. Tsubasa beats him anyway. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Kiyoyo turns down a spot, so that means you would technically be the substitute of Team Gang Galaxy. Alright, he's still a part of the gang. Alright, let's go. Wow, this is going to be interesting. Our story is going to start off with Jinga, Masamune, Tsubasa, and you as the main
did Kenta make the team?
Oh boy,
no, he
I
did.
wonder what fights he's going to get into in the first
None.
one. Oh, yeah. He doesn't fight at all. Okay, well, I wonder what fight he's going to get into the second round. Okay, against Team Russia? I'm sure this fight is going to
Did he lose?
Okay, he gets a win. Oh, the fight is boring and trash and doesn't really mean anything for Yu's character?
Yeah, I don't remember what he did.
Yu's first actual fight wouldn't be until the final round of the second team they're fighting against, that being Team Russia. I consider it a W since Team Russia was cheating regardless, but it just kind of sucks that the Russia team is not as prevalent or important as the other ones. Like, this is without a doubt the least interesting team in the World Tournament. Anyway, you would luckily get the luxury to
I don't remember
the next
nothing that
two
you
teams in
did.
double battles, but these fights are really weird for Yu's reputation. You see, you would fight Demura and Benkei first with Tsubasa, and he would hold his ground pretty firmly since he's stronger than both of them. But the problem was with not only his teammate Tsubasa fighting the voices, but Demura and Benkei specifically using their teamwork to get the advantage on both Tsubasa and Yu. Tsubasa with the dark power would legit squad wipe the entire field, eliminating Demura, Benkei, and Yu. So, yeah, Yu's team definitely got a point and won to the next round, but
you
got knocked out in the process. And it's even worse against Team Europe, since Sophie and Wales, like the last time they fought you, by the way, completely neg him and force Tsubasa to lock in and 2v1 to get Gang Galaxy the win. Now, Yu was crucial in Tsubasa breaking out of the dark power and one-shot.
But that's really it,
However, in terms of the actual fight itself,
he didn't do nothing.
What Yu did in the battle, Yu in both of these fights got carried and did little to pretty much nothing to either of the opponents. And we are about to reach the climax of Metal Masters, and so far he's only won one battle. And the only reason they gave you this fight is so they could say, oh my god, the substitute of Team Gang Galaxy beat a team leader. But like, that doesn't mean anything if the character is trash, and the worst is yet to come. We haven't even talked about the Garcia fight. I don't know what they were thinking, what they did to you in this arc, but oh my god.
Killed him. Killed his character.
My boy. So, Team Garcia's whole thing is that they are low-key kind of weak and use cheap tactics to get ahead of stronger
Jump,
opponents.
my boy.
One of them needs a specific stadium to be competent, and the other two need combo moves and need to work together to even compete with any relevant fighter in the tournament. And so, their strat to pick out their weakest blader and manipulate their friends, and to then jump him and get his Beyblade damn near broken is diabolical. I don't know why they did this to him. Well, I know why they did this. They did this just to get under Gang Galaxy's skin, and unfortunately they all take the bait and agree to settle it all in one match. And even despite you getting jumped, he tries to lock in with Libra and gives us one of the best efforts against an opponent even despite their conditions. But unfortunately, due to Libra taking so much damage, you would lose to probably the weakest person in the entire tournament and would look like the sorriest blader in the entire world. Luckily,
Libra got destroyed.
Gets his get back, but if you've been on the channel before, then
Masamune
has to save you. Are you even worth saving? Anyway, you past this point doesn't really get to do much in the series. He and Tsubasa get jumped by Damien, and he uses Infernal Blast to save Jinga and break the arrangement system. But that's really all about Yu does in this season. Besides losing, he's just pretty much Tsubasa's butt buddy. And to think that the Yu from Metal Fusion is the same guy who'd go on to become this is sickening. And
they massacre my boy character crazy
right now. And it's crazy since the beginning of Metal Masters, Yu has just been sorry. Like, how is Tsubasa dropping you while he's trying to scream the voices out of his head? How is Masamune, of all people, going to have one up on you? Luckily,
he had to spin the block for you, bro.
Redeems you, but to an extent. The reason I say this is because he does come back way stronger, and after training and locking in after his horrid performance in the last season, which he himself has admitted, he'd managed to become strong enough to hold his own against legendary bladers and even Rago to an extent. I personally think Yu, out of the non-legendary Blader crew, has the most impressive showings besides Kenta, obviously. He not only fought Kyoya and forced him to rely on his special move, the same one that put a gap between him and Jinga, but he'd go on to fight Tithy and be the person to break out of Nemesis's barrier. And this is mainly because of his new special move, that being the final Infernal Blast, which is just an even scarier Infernal Blast that's multiple times bigger and stronger. I also like that this season decides to give us Yu and Kyoya's first real battle, and seeing how two very different people who were inspired by Jinga to an extent clash heads. It goes without saying, Yu definitely does get some great treatment in Fury and ends up standing by Jinga, his new inspiration to take down Rago, the same guy who Doji was trying to revive all along. And it's funny to see how Doji's two associates end up working together on the same side to bring him down. The only thing I felt like that would have made this perfect is if we got an actual scene of Ryuga and Yu talking down Doji, or maybe Yu defending Ryuga's honor. And although I find this to be decently executed, I don't think it really justifies Yu's treatment in Metal Masters, especially since Yu and the last legendary Blader that they need before the final fight happens are shown in the same place. So yes, Yu's stuff in Fury is great, but we only see Yu for like 10 episodes in Metal Fury, and that's not even me exaggerating. But regardless, I do appreciate Yu and Kyoya's different mentalities clashing head on as they try to guide Tithy since he's so young. Nonetheless, Fury did give Yu a nice conclusion after whatever you want to call what Masters gave him. It's just crazy how much of an
massacre my boy in the alleyway
every season that isn't Metal Masters. And what's funny is that on this channel we've talked about Yu, we've talked about Masamune, but we haven't even begun to talk about the biggest tragedy in all of Metal Masters, which may or may not be the next video. Anyways, thank you for watching.
I wonder, who is it? Who could it be? You got me intrigued. Because who could it be? There's Tsubasa, Yu, Masamune. Who could it be? But you gotta wait to find out. But they massacred my boy in the alleyway. In the alleyway, twin. In the alleyway. In the alleyway, twin. They massacred my boy in the alleyway. Could never be me though. I would have smoked all of them. I would have blew that village up. Crazy. But my boy Ty channel is gonna be linked down below along the reason of the video. Make sure you go show him some love. Cause if you don't, you're gonna end up like you in that alleyway. That's all I'm saying. I'll catch y'all next one.